I designed this headboard with the sunset in mind, the rays coming out just as it's going down at night. Hey, if you're interested in learning how I did this, follow along. So I've cut the post at 55 inches, just marked out for the dowels on the top rail. About 1.5, one in the center, and one about 1.25 from the bottom. This is about 5 1/8 wide here. I also marked a line here, which is 22 inches from the bottom. That's where the top rail will go here. I want to make a semicircle, roughly where this piece of cardboard is. And it's going to be about 30 inches across on the bottom and about 15 inches up. And it's going to represent a moon or sun, depending on your perspective. And then from here, there'll be, from that circle, be rays coming out from either side. From there, so to get the semicircle, well, what I did is, if you can see here, I drew it out to scale on my workbench. Workbench is a white melamine, but I have my homemade Tramo compass, whatever you call it, circle maker, and I just drew a line, marked the center, and on here I could draw out the semicircle right on top of the tabletop. Then I know that this piece is yellow birch that I really like. It's got beautiful grain in it. This is what I want to make the semicircle, and it's 5.5 inches wide. So I then measured up 5.5 inches for each one of these, and I'm able to then figure out and measure across here the minimum width for each one of these that I need to cut this, so I don't waste any of this very valuable yellow birch. So I only have a very limited amount of it, and I'm not sure where I'd get some that's exactly the same as that. So this is a great way of doing a design full scale on something that I could easily erase and change. This is the moon, or at least it's going to be. Set up the travel point that I have here with a compass, mark the center. Just want to make sure I've got enough room. And if you can see here, the line I've marked. I'm going to cut this out on the bandsaw. So this is the half moon, or the planet, or whatever you want to do. It's going to fit in here, and I'll have rays hopefully coming out from either side from here. Right now I'll just glue up the main part of the frame. Just measuring across corner to corner here to make sure that the headboard is square. I don't know if you can see that. What beautiful grain this has. It's got more waves and curves in it. More waves than the Queen. Just, I think when it gets an oil, a nice urethane or finish on this, I think it's just going to look amazing. The purpose of this other stick is just to keep, right here is just to keep this in line with the top rail here, roughly. I cut this first piece, which will be a ray, sunlight, light ray, moon or sun, whatever. And I just did that first. I didn't film it because I had to figure it out, but it's fitting in there just the way I want it, nice and tight. And I'll just have to glue that and put some pocket hole screws, give it a little more reinforcement. Regardless of what you think of pocket hole screws, they do add some strength, and they'll definitely hold it in place while the glue sets. So I'll show you how I'm going to cut those next ones. I'm going to do one on the bottom here. They'll come from here, angled up. I'll copy that for this side. Then there's one, you can see here, there's a mark 45 degrees from the center point here, coming right up through, and there'll be another ray here. So there'll be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rays coming around. I was going to make a tapering jig to cut these all out, but I figured by the time I had that made, I'd have these cut on the bandsaw before I even had that made, so I'm going this way. I'll sand this curve on the spindle sander, and then I'll cut the other end to length. To make the various sun rays, what I've done, for example this one, I found the center of the board, and this one I want about 1.5, or rather 2.5 inches, will be on the narrow end. So I just from the center measure over 1.25 inches, and then I just draw out a line from each of those lines to the corner of the board, and that gives me the where the ray of the light is spreading out, coming from the sun or the moon or whatever you want it to be. That's as simple as that. And I just cut it out on the bandsaw. You could use a jigsaw, you could use a tapering jig on the table saw. I've sanded at 60 grit, all of it, and I'm starting to cut out thin strips of Purple Heart that I'm going to glue to the outside of these rays, both sides. Add a little bit of an accent color, bring out the rays coming out. And that'll be my final thing before giving it a final sand and finishing it. And just to get a snug fit. And I'm just going to continue going around. I'll save you the monotony of watching every one of these being fitted. I've cut all the accents to Purple Heart to length for each of the rays for both sides. I'm going to glue them one at a time, just to each side of each ray. First, just to make sure they don't slide. It's easier to control trying to get a clamp on these on two sides and having to move out of position. And it clamps, but I'm running out of places that clamps are interfering with each other. So it's best if I just let that glue for about an hour, hour and a half or so. And then I'll glue the one in the middle. There's one on the other end down there. And then on this end I can actually start gluing the back side of these ones as well. It'll be done tonight, hopefully. I have one coat of water-based Varathane on here. And doesn't the grain just look like it's out of this world, like some kind of planet or something like that? Sunspots there, the little knots and imperfections. And I don't know how well it shows. The raised, the yellow, or the purple heart, in my mind, really accents the yellow birch. I think it's going to look nice after 3 or 4 coats. I'm here to install some dowels that I can install some Banksea Seed Pods on the end of the headboard. Gives a little bit of accent and takes away a little bit of the squareness. Not sure if I like it. It kind of looks like beer bottles sitting there. Hopefully you like this video. If you do, please share and let me know as well in the comments. Until the next video, everyone take care of yourself.